MVP odds.
Okay.
Bryce Harper is the best player in baseball, plus 1,000 right now. I think it's the best bang for your buck. I mean, who's going to beat him?
I mean, if I'm a bet man, and Shohei, I know you're not a bet man.
Bryce Young, Andy, plus 4,000, comeback player of the year.
Coming back to like the locker room to get his knees iced down or what? And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, and we got a very special guest here for this segment, Rod Vermilio. He is the founder, he's the CEO, he is just about everything for the Global Sports Betting Network. Rod, thank you so much for being here.
Andy, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this all week, so looking forward to getting on with you and sharing with your listeners some of the stuff with Global Sports Bet Network.
Right. Well, everybody that knows the show and knows me, a lot of this came from the fascination of, okay, you got your blowhards, your old coaches, and players, on every show. Half the guys say this, half the guys say that. I'm like, it's pretty easy for you to say who's going to win or lose. But those guys over there, Vegas, why is there such a big, heavy lean one way or the other? I'm going to go with those guys. So I've always been fascinated with that conversation and the why behind that. And that's obviously where you're coming from. You have figured out the why with some of this software that you've developed.
Yeah, so the software is a derivative of the Forex market software and day trading software. For the conventional forms that most people know, Forex, the stock market, futures markets, and that sort of thing. Um, I didn't want to spend 8, 10 hours a day diving into games when you're talking about, hey, well, let's see, they're on a Thursday between, when the wind's blowing out on a grass infield. I just didn't want to get that deep into it. So ours is based strictly around math. There's all this talk and all this noise in the industry about, oh, well, inside information and this and that. Listen, nobody has more information than the sports books generally.
Right.
And so I just said, they do all the heavy lifting for us. Let's just look at it as a math and algorithm and statistical model, pair it with an investment type model, and do a day trading. So you're not simply just sports betting. You're really treating it as a long-term day trading platform. And that's generally, what the program's about.
Yeah, and you guys are extremely transparent on, just as you mentioned there, how you came up with this, and you guys put your money where your mouth is. I find that very interesting. Every day you come out with a ledger showing these are the bets we hit, these are the bets we missed, and then you can kind of detail it from there exactly which direction you're going.
Right. I mean, and that's one of the things. I mean, I didn't share the software with the public for the longest time. We used it ourselves. Back when COVID hit, I expanded it from 30 lines, which at that point was getting 20 to 40% returns. For an investor, if you got 20 to 40% returns, they'd say, where do I sign up, right? Back in the day, I was offered $3 million for that software. I ended up turning that down. When COVID hit, I finally had the time to sit down, increase the program to 200 lines, and now we're getting 60 to 80% returns annually through our platforms, which are huge numbers. We personally went through and did a proof of concept using our own money. We ran between $2 and $4 million a year through the sports books here in Las Vegas, and recently got on the radar and were limited. And one of the reasons that I wanted to go public and share the information is there's so many misconceptions in the sports betting world. There's so many people that want to say, oh, well, a brick of cash and on their collector car and all this stuff, and I won this much last night. It's not quite like that, as you well know. But I got a hold of a guy one time, and there were there's call rooms and all these high pressured salespeople out there giving information out. None of them will show you their tickets of what they play, put their money where their mouth is, as you put it. But one of the things, there's no transparency. I wanted to be the first sports information betting and day trading platform that actually did that, and
Yeah.
actually did it with 100% transparency. One of the guys I'd gotten a hold of it's probably been 8 years ago now. I got a hold of him. He said, "Well, how much money do you want up front?" And I said, "I don't want any money up front." And I said, "I want to get you on house money or profits." And you know as well as I do, when you're sports betting or you're doing any kind of trading or investing, right? The
Yeah.
big key is to get on house money. That's the way you eliminate and reduce your risk. And so I get him up $700 first week, and he calls me and he says, "Rod, how do I get paid?" And I said, "Well, how were you paying?" He said, "A guy would come by and give me or I'd give him an envelope full of cash." I said, "Well, you ought to, a guy ought to come by and give you an envelope full of cash." So I knew he was playing somewhere that was
Yeah.
illegal to
Yeah.
bet.
Right. Right.
And so I said, "Well, I'm kind of confused." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You sound like you've been doing this for a while." And he said, "Well, I have." And he said, "I've never won." I said, "Not 1 week." And so he had gotten hooked up with a bunch of these call rooms and high pressured salespeople.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, how much are you down? I said, he goes, I'm embarrassed to tell you. And I said, I can't help you if you don't tell me." He
Hmm.
was actually down $297,000, a retired caterer.
Mm.
His wife had no idea. And I said to myself at that point, if I could get with a team that could create a platform, a day trading platform to help people not get stuck or not get taken to the cleaners like that, I would do it. And that's how we decided to come up with Global Sports Bet Network, and why we're not afraid to put our money where our mouth is, because we know how good the software works.
Yeah, and along with that transparency, and it's something I'll be transparent. I signed up for it. You guys have Inside Wagers. That's one of your platforms on the website, and every day you will email out a minimum of three plays that you think are or your software comes up with, and says this is some viable stuff here. I actually took two of the three today, so we'll see. We'll see. But how does the software kind of come up with that without diving too far into the weeds, where you're comfortable enough with sharing all this, kind of for free without making people pay for it?
One of the things you got to realize is yes, we give on the Inside Wagers through the Global Sports Bet Network website. We do give out 3 free plays a day, right? And
Hmm.
if you go to the next level of platform, those first 3 plays will be also included in those, right? And so and those go on down the line to our premier packages, where you get into money lines, run lines, a lot more exotic plays for those that are experienced. And why we do the Inside Wagers is to get you on house money and get you used to following what we do. If you notice on our plays, it's not just the plays themselves. It's almost important as the amount you risk per your bankroll. And so we'll have a line on there that says, this is the cash that we're risking. And then right underneath that, which is very, very important, is a percentage. I may be playing with $100,000 bankroll or a $25,000 bankroll.
Hmm.
So my play is going to be different than somebody playing with $1,000 capital account or bankroll. And that is one of the keys to the software. But we input all the data for 200 lines, right? Investment lines or trade lines. And it tells us what mathematically has the best chances to win. So it'll lean one way or another. For example, you know how the sports books work, of course. They want to get 50% of the bets on each side of a trade, right?
Yes.
So they charge 10% juice or vig. So that number is usually going to be between 40 and 60 in the long run, right? So if you
Hmm.
know a team has gone 30% against the spread over the last 20 games, the chances are there's a slight lean that they're going to start covering against the spread. So that's just one of the mathematical, statistical algorithms that the software takes into account when it's producing the
Yeah.
information that we give out. So it goes much deeper than that, as you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's just one of the many things that is a math and statistical lean that tells us whether that's a value play or not.
Well, and you already kind of talked about the day trading side of it, or that's how you treat it, and that it's not a get rich quick. And when you
No.
see those touts and those type of flamboyant guys on TikTok and X, with their Ferrari behind them and three girls, I mean that sends up red flags like crazy for me. So I appreciate the talk of, hey, let's take it slow, let's do three here, let's do three there, and play by the bankroll. I think that's where a lot of guys get off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, the reason most sports bettors lose money in the long run is they may have $1,000 set aside and this is true with any investment,
Yeah.
and they're firing away $100 a game. We've got, some of our platforms, the Vegas Syndicate Wagers platform, that's the most aggressive. It's up over 75% year to date right now, net profits. So we're on pace to do over 150% annual returns. But the key is that when you start looking at those numbers, right? The key is, an $80,000 bankroll, we're playing $25 units, $30 units, 50,
Mhm.
$70 units. We're not firing away $5,000, $3,000.
Yeah.
You've got to treat it like an long-term investment. And we don't know anybody out there that has a platform quite like ours. As you know, we're starting to get a lot of traction, and we've got a lot of companies that are coming at us that want to do some joint venture stuff. But I don't want to sell like those people. We
Mhm.
make money by day trading ourselves. We use the software ourselves. And so I just want to teach people the correct way. And you're right. Those guys that market like that, they make a lot of money, but they never have their own money where their mouth is.
Right. Another thing that I really sparked my interest, and it goes along with your theme here, being transparent and being honest up front. Your book, the Sports Betting Bible. That's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, I can't take the credit from that. My marketing guys take the credit for that, but it's just, you can get on the website and get the book, and it'll read just like I'm telling you. It'll show examples of the actual software. And there's so many people out there say they have a software, so many people that are giving out different sides. So, ESPN, VSiN, they were at one time giving out a lot of good information to sports bettors. Now it's all watered down. And like you said, you'll get 8 guys on a panel, 4 of them come up with one side, 4 of them come up with another side. Well, we
Right.
all know that, most people can hit 50%. It's those select few that can get into the 60s. And when you start talking about some of the touts out there and saying, oh, we're hitting 80%, they're not hitting 80%. I don't care what they tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of funny if you look at some of those tickets, they're like minus 400 bets too. It's like, well, you know,
Right.
that's kind of a risky ordeal there, going down that lane. Uh, Rod, where can people find you?
You can go to globalsportsbetnetwork.com, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. We've got all the social media channels out there. Globalsportsbetnetwork.com is the main website. That's the umbrella. You're going to have, you can go and sign up for Inside Wagers. Inside Wagers is free, 3 picks a day. And that'll get you started. You can start tracking it. I know you've probably been watching it for a while before you signed up. The Discord will give everybody uh, an explanation of all the different platforms that are out there. And I can tell you that anybody can do this if they follow along. We have one client that is in Las Vegas, and she's a housewife, right? Stay-at-home mom, and her kids are getting older, and she went to her husband. She goes, I think I want to do something to bring some money into the household. And he said, okay, well, whatever you want to do, I'll support you. And she comes to him and says, I think I want a sports bet. And he goes, no, and find something else. And she just kept on and on and on about it. And she was hearing all this noise about, oh, I'm I made $8 million this year, and all this craziness that they say out there. I'm hitting
Oh, yeah.
85%. Well, he finally said, "Look, I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm going to give you $5,000. When it's gone, it's gone." She said, "Okay, fair enough." So she ends up signing up, gets sucked into one of the touts that are selling unrealistic expectations. She doubles her money pretty quickly, and she's all
Mhm.
excited. And then it starts to tank, right? Like most of them do. She finds us back when she has her original back to her original bankroll, our capital account, and comes in, starts following our system, and she has tripled her money, and follows it day by day. And just
Yeah.
she says it's so easy. It takes me less than 15 minutes a day. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. And so it's not. You don't have to, like you and I love sports. We watch sports. We played sports. You
Yep.
don't have to be a sports person. Sometimes the less you know about sports, you don't try to overthink it, right?
Yeah.
And so, don't think you have to be a big sports person or
Right.
an investment guru or a banker. It's very straightforward.
And I also saw you guys are kind of firing up a YouTube channel as well, as are we. So I'm always cruising over there. You guys are pretty good about getting your the sheet put out there from the day before. And yeah, you show the ones that hit, you show the picks that missed, the whole 9 yards. So I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, and I've had other people that have reached out to us and said, "Well, you need a third party verification, right?" And I said, "Well, really, we don't." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Because we post, if you're a subscriber and you go to the website for
Hmm.
any platform that we have, and you purchase the bets or trades every day, and you see that we've posted something different than what we posted the day before, you're going to call us out all over social media. We don't do that. We're not going to tell you we win every day. We don't win every week.
Yeah.
We've had one losing month the entire year.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're making money. It's there is no other investment platform conventional on the market that you can go out and control your money every day, right?
Yeah.
And make the types of returns that we're getting. So I just want to teach people the most effective and responsible way to sports bet. I don't, I work really hard for my money as you do, and most people out there, and I just don't want to see them getting taken for a ride when and buying unrealistic expectations.
Well, Rod, thank you for taking the time and hopping on with us. I get it. I get kind of nerdy about this stuff, especially when you start crunching numbers like that and bring that other perspective. You even said in there you don't have to be a sports guy to make this work, and you can see that if you just be diligent and follow through. So, Rod, thank you so much for hopping on with us here today.
Andy, anytime. It was a pleasure talking to you. Tell your brother I said hello, and we'll catch up soon.
Oh, the parlay pounder, he's tuning in. You can bet on that.
Good luck this weekend, guys.
Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL.